about a lot of narratives that are expressed constantly without any real examination.
Well, do you think they're going after you or going after the ivermectin?
Going after the ivermectin, 100%. I was a simple, easy to make fun of person who did a ridiculous thing, and that's why they were able to say horse dewormer. You know, but it's such a dumb thing to say because it was a playbook that would have been really effective in 1998. You could have gotten that done in 1998. The problem is there's too much information that's available. And when you're mocking a person for taking a drug that a human being won the Nobel Prize for in like 2015 for its use in humans, like that seems insane. Also, you're knocking people taking off-label medication under the advice of a trained physician. What? Like, what's going on? And who are these people that are doing this? These talking heads on CNN? Why are they all agreeing? How come not one person is saying, hey, what is the reason why ivermectin would be taken in the first place? Oh, it stops viral replication in vitro? Well, maybe there's some reason to use this. Maybe these doctors are correct. All these anecdotal stories about people taking it and then getting better quickly. Like, is there anything to this? But there was none of that in the media because they are sponsored by pharmaceutical drug companies who clearly had marching orders.
Yeah. What do you make of this virus that's killing folks in the Congo?
Jesus, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. 170 people have died. They don't know what it is. It's some weird African virus.
Fun.
Yeah.
See if Bill Gates has been visiting there lately.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm terrified of pandemics for sure.
Yeah.
That one wasn't one to be terrified of, and they made us terrified of it, which makes me terrified.
Yeah.
Because that was one where they, we talked about this in the podcast, where they made fun of Donald Trump because he was saying it's less than 1% of the people who get it die. And then CNN was mocking him, saying it's 3.4%, it's 3.4%. You know what it was? It was considerably less than 1%. He was right. But they had marching orders. And his marching orders was to scare the shit out of people and to tell them to get vaccinated.
It was a scary time, that's for sure. Yeah. They closed down the town that I was living in back then, Gallup. It was closed down. You couldn't go into it if you didn't live there.
God, it's so weird.
For 9 days.
Well, 9 days better than California. California, they did a whole year and a half of like complete restrictions. They were stopping outdoor dining just arbitrarily. I had a friend and his brother works for the state. And he said to the lady who was in charge of it, he said, why are you stopping outdoor dining? There's no evidence that there's spread through outdoor dining. And she said, it's the optics.
Mm-hmm.
The optics. Like, we're going to shut businesses down for optics because they had to show that they're doing something because there's like a noticeable spread that's being reported in the media.
Yeah, that's called virtue signaling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the real problem is their jobs are not dependent upon their society functioning. They get paid no matter what. So if society crumbles and all these businesses, they lost 70% of their restaurants at one point in time. 70% just went under. That's insane to continue a practice like that, especially where within 6 months, they should have known that it wasn't as fatal as everybody said it was. When they already had the data in about how come all these people that are dying, they all have like significant amount of comorbidities. How come all these people that are dying are over the age of 80? How come it doesn't mean fuck those people. It means protect those people, but let everybody else get back to work. Like, you just have control of these people, and you're continuing to enforce this control while their lives are destroyed. How many people turned to drugs? How many people committed suicide because they lost everything completely out of their power? How many lives were lost? How many kids had their childhood stripped away from them and have significant learning problems, not just because they didn't go to school, but because even when they went to school, they had to wear a mask. The whole reading people's lips and hearing sounds come out, everything was weird. Reading faces was weird. If you're a toddler and your experience is going through the first couple of years of your schooling and your preschool with fucking masks on, like, what is that?
Yeah.
What did we do to these people?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only good out of it, in my opinion, is that people realize that it was stupid and they won't be as quick to accept it in the future.
You think if there's another pandemic?
Right. I don't think people are going to accept the government, which is filled with a bunch of fucking silly people that have decided to run the government, having complete control over whether or not you can run your business, or you can decide to take, a trip somewhere, or you could visit your parents when they're in the hospital. Like, all that is crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what impact RFK Jr. is going to have on the delivery of healthcare now.
Well, he's going to have so much of an impact that they're talking about preemptively pardoning Fauci. Like, well, how do you pardon someone that didn't do a crime?
Preemptively. That's funny.
How are you pardoning someone where he's not only is he not convicted of a crime, he's not even been tried, he's not accused, he's not indicted? Like, what do you...
I guess that's called blanket immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's never been done before. There's never been preemptive pardons for people
Yeah, that's an interesting
that
idea.
may have been committing crimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
Yeah. Well, do you know much about the fluoride story? A lot of people wonder about the pineal gland and DMT synthesis if you have a calcified pineal, which is more likely if you're fluoridated.
Have they ever done autopsy studies on people that are in high fluoride areas to check out their pineal glands? Or is this just like one of those things that people say?
Well, it's the case in lower animals that you feed them a high fluoride diet and their pineal glands calcify more rapidly. I'm not sure what the human literature is. I don't know.
So when you say that, when they calcify more rapidly, like what animals are they serving them fluoride?
Rats, mice.
And what have the results been? Like significant differences?
Yeah, I mean, these experimental animals' pineal glands anyway. Yeah, they do calcify more rapidly. But whether or not that actually correlates to a reduction in melatonin production, for example, I'm not that familiar with the literature.
Is the number commensurate with what would even be possible through fluoride in water, or would it have to be some other form of poisoning? Is it like a very high level of fluoride that they're giving them?
With the experimental animals, this fluoride-rich kind of diet.
So then the question would be, what about the accumulation of fluoride in small doses over the course of a long lifetime?
I'm just not that current on the literature. There's a couple of things that occur that cause pineal calcification. One is aging. The older you get, the more calcification there is. Back when I was current on the pineal physiology data, which was a long time ago, like 40 years ago. There wasn't a relationship between the degree of calcification in the human pineal and production of melatonin. So like at least according to the data to the data from the 80s, the degree of calcification wasn't functionally significant. But I get an email here and there wondering if fluoridation of the pineal might reduce the production of endogenous DMT, which one might theorize takes place. But we don't really know quite yet if the pineal even makes DMT, let alone if pineal calcification might reduce it.
Wouldn't it be interesting to measure different lifestyles and then also look at the age in which these people are and see if there's, like, when they die, if there's calcification? Like if you have one person who's a marathon runner and they're 65 versus one person who's sedentary, drinks a lot, and they're also 65.
Yeah, you would think it would correlate with your overall general health.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you're thinking that it's age-related, it may be age-related, or is it exposure over long periods of time, where it accumulates? Because the amount of fluoride that's in the water is very small. And this is one of the things that people point to when they say that it's not dangerous. It's very small. But the question is, like, where does it go? Like, does it actually leave the body, or does it accumulate somewhere?
Yeah. Well, you'd have to compare, you'd have to compare autopsies in older folks from, from areas that never had fluoride in their water versus those that did. And I'm certain those studies have been done. Like I said, I'm just not that current on that.
I just don't buy the idea that you should put fluoride in the water to prevent tooth decay. I just think that sounds like, the way I've described it, I said it's like putting sunscreen in the apples because some people get sunburn. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't seem logical. You could just brush your fucking teeth. Like you don't need to have this weird neurotoxic chemical in our water, even in low supplies.
Yeah. Would you put fluoride in the toothpaste?
No, I don't have fluoride in my toothpaste. I don't have cavities.
Oh, I do. I've had a few cavities.
Do you eat sugar?
I love sugar.
That's it. We found it. I don't hardly ever eat sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally I'll have a cookie or something like that, but it's not a normal thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's diet. It's diet and it's brushing your teeth.
Yeah. Well, and I think exercising your jaw too, like chewing gum.
Right.
Is,
Xylitol gum is supposed to be really good for your jaw
Yeah.
and good for your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have a healthy jaw, healthy chin, I mean, you breathe easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know how they got started with the whole fluoride in the water thing, but it seems like a giant scam. Like Big Fluoride is
Big
still
Fluoride.
selling
Yeah.
fluoride to all these different water departments, and they don't want to stop. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.